I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make a man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Niger boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama hip, so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing you need endurance to go in. I got mileage on this pen, I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
guys know, I know you guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Aslı.
Oi, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh, you wanna get sued?
Judgment, Aslı.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a-running.
For what?
But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love him when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative, and it's so good to see everyone. Merry Christmas. I made it just in the nick of time, I think, well, for Eastern time. Boy, today was a busy day, but I didn't think it was going to be that busy, and I hurried up and got the video uploaded at the last minute. So I'm glad you guys were all able to make it, and I hope you had a great day. And Chuchi is here. Merry Christmas, Chuchi. Thank you for being here. Also, little Miss Sharon, thank you so much for the green hearts, guys. We're going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers tonight for Christmas. And hey, Deanna D, so good to see you. Justice for Noog is here. Good to see you, Justice for Noog. And also, I see Witchy Mama. Hey, Witchy Mama. And Kelly Holcomb is here. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Cece, happy or Merry Christmas to Cece. Almost said Happy New Year. But it is coming into a new year, guys. And I did get a fun gift from my daughter for Christmas. She sent it to me, and she got me a dragon. So I posted it on the channel on my community posts. So love the emoji, Cece. Hey, cool gamer, good to see you. And Laura Arnold is here. Good to see you, Andrea. Hey, Doodle Mom, good to see you. And Sandwich is here. Thanks, Sandwich. Oh my goodness, last night. Whew. I mean, I just had so much to get into last night, with all of that, all the interviews they've been coming up with, and it's wild. I can't believe how much stuff popped off over on Facebook. I'm still like, I had no idea that Facebook was like that. Because I always just use Facebook for like friends, family, work, networking, that sort of thing. Hey, Hope Floats, good to see you. So I had no idea that everybody was hanging over there and, causing all kinds of stuff. But it's not all bad. Actually, there's a lot of information over there. So I was taking that all in. Hey, happy holidays. Also watching some of the new videos that came out with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Wow. Wowza. Just completely crazy. Hey, Andrea. And Andrea sent me this beautiful poem or saying, and I'm going to make a video and post it later on after the live tonight. Hey, Kiki, Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. Also, Leslie, keeping it real. Good to see you. And Diana Bond is here. Good to see you. Hey, Haunting Hope. Good to see you guys. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. Yes, I know, Deanna. I was like, don't get me started, I'll cry. Because I was like, how sweet. Like, I don't know. She's a good kid. So yeah, it was a good Christmas. I just made ravioli, like not Chef Boyardee, but raviolis with like a chicken sausage that I like. And it was kind of like a little bit spicy, so I did that. And that was good. So, but I hope you guys all had a great Christmas too. So it just like flew by today. And I was also up late kind of looking at some of the other Facebook posts and things for Devlin. So lots of information coming out. I think we've got it narrowed down to probably I'll say about 8 hours. Seems like anyway, from the time that he might have went missing or something happened till the time he was reported, that is. Ooh, deer steak. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, that sounds so good, Andrea. Yeah, raviolis were as good. I just got like the frozen ones, which is terrible, right? I should have made them. And I like that. And what are those tortellinis too? Are so good. But either way, let's get started on this video because it was kind of a shorter one. I went back to look for when Chris said he's not pervy, we're not pervy to that, but I found a whole bunch of other kind of micro expressions that I've never really gone over with you guys, and then I wanted to slow jam them a little bit and see what their micro expressions are actually saying, right? Chris was doing this thing where he was looking at Holly Thompson, then he looked over at Katie, then he looked back at Holly Thompson, right? So Holly would ask a question, he was looking at her, then he whips his head over, looks at Katie, and then again he whips his head over to see what Holly's reaction is, in my opinion, right? I'm not Chris, I can't say exactly what he was doing, but it seems to me like that's what was going on. So I wanted to check out the micro expressions, Andrea. Yeah, and then I wanted to clip the part where Nancy Grace asks about the thud, and then Katie said, "Bubba, did you fall out of the bed?" Because I think that is such a bullshit. Like, and she even says, like in between, or not. She says, in between, right? Like she's making it up, like, Bubba, did you fall? She's so full of shit. Sorry. But yeah, maybe I'll have to make another roast video, guys, because I could do a lot of roast videos on their silly some of the silly things they've done. I mean, it would blow people's minds. And I also think not a lot of people are as familiar with Chris and Katie as we are on YouTube. So maybe if I bring it over there. I was reposting some really good videos that were out. Matt Thibodeau posted a really good one. Hindsight always posts good ones. Well, they both do. And so I was reposting some of those older interviews and things like that. So I know, Deanna, my heart's with Seth too. And I realized, excuse me, I realized last night that I wasn't showing my bracelet here. You guys could probably read it better if I do that. But it says Sebastian's Army on it. On the other side, there's a dragon and also an awareness. So, and it says, you can't really see it, so it's tiny, but it says hashtag Team Sebastian, bring Sebastian home, and it glows in the dark. So I've not taken it off since I got it. I just, have it on all the time. So, oh, Cece grilled steak and fish. Ooh, that sounds so good. Surf and turf night. Yay, Cece. We got caught up on our fishing trip the other day. Oh, that's so cool. Been eating like crazy down here. That's awesome. What kind of fish did you catch? I'm excited to know about that. I know, that sounds so good, right, Andrea? Yes, Deanna, I am going to go to Tennessee in February. I fully plan on doing that. So there is, let me pull up the flyer. Thanks, Deanna. This is a good flyer to share actually today. So let's see here. I just love that neon sign. That is the coolest thing ever. And I don't know, I have to see if she made it. I didn't ask her about it. Did I post it that long ago? Gee whiz. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I did. Okay, hold on one second. Share. Okay, so if hopefully you guys can see this. Oh, there we go. All right. So it's a Voices for Sebastian Wayne Rogers. There we go. Who has been missing for 2 years. So hopefully we don't have to gather for this, right? I'm hoping to not gather for this. I hope he's found before then. So on February 26, 2024, Sebastian went missing. 2 years later, our voices join together in remembrance and love and in hope. We invite the community to gather in solidarity to honor Sebastian and to continue shining light on his story. Please wear or bring something green, Sebastian's favorite color, as a tribute. And then we're going to be gathering February 23rd through February 27th, 2026. Okay, so that's the anniversary of him being reported missing. The last video we have is at the Texas Roadhouse, right? And, the TBI put their stamp of approval on the photo, or excuse me, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office put their stamp of approval on that flyer. So, ugh. But if you want to do, if you want to get updates or send support, it's facebook.com/groups/Justice for Sebastian. Together, our voices are stronger. Together, we remember. Right? And there's Sebastian. It's just been way too long. They really need to do something in this case, in my opinion. Hey, Holly S. And I know there's a lot of stuff coming out from Mob Crew, guys, and I've never gotten to catch up on it, right? So I watched like maybe 2 of the videos in the beginning, but I know Chris had been putting lives out like almost daily. So, my goodness, I have to catch up. Let me go ahead and pull this other video that I made up. of the micro expressions. Yeah, like I said, I got caught on the Holly Thompson video. But, you know, with the Holly Thompson video, sorry, I didn't realize it was like whoop in your face like that. With the Holly Thompson video, it's very early on. It's 8 days after Sebastian went missing. Also, we can see their facial expressions and their body language, which we're not able to see that in many of their interviews. And here's why. The Proudfoot opted to not show their faces and go more so on social media where they can do an avatar, right? Versus what I'm doing right here, right? Showing my face, showing who, you know, you guys can see all of my body movements, what I'm doing when I take a drink of something, when my eyelashes are, you know, when I bat my eyes, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a much different experience altogether. They opted not to do that because people were going through the interviews and looking for micro expressions and, you know, analyzing their body language. And so they did their first interview with Duchess for the Missing. The second one was Holly Thompson, right? 7 days, 8 days into Sebastian's disappearance. Then they went ahead and did an Only Hands interview with Caitlin Miller, who is with, I believe, Fox. So so they had just their hands, right? Like, say this is Chris's hand and this one's Katie's, and he's like this, and their sausage fingers are rubbing together, and it was very awkward, right? And that's what they put out because they didn't want anybody to see their facial expressions. And what they told people, the reason behind it was because they didn't want to show themselves. They were too emotional to show themselves. I mean, every single action that they do screams guilt, in my opinion. Anybody who has half a brain cell can see it. And I don't mean to, you know, be rude when I say that, but it's just quite obvious, right? So this is 8 days in and we're able to see their body language. There's not many interviews that they do where we can see the body language because everybody was also, I don't know if they were outraged, but they were, I mean, I was weirded out. I thought it was completely strange. I had never seen anybody do an interview like that ever, especially not the parents of a missing child, right? Because we see the public pleas for the missing all the time in the news. And it's always the ones that fall short that the people end up being involved or have some guilty knowledge or what have you, right? And statistically, hey meow, Merry Christmas. Statistically, it's the people that you know, it's the people that have access to you, it's the people who are the closest to you. It's the parents, it's whoever, the husband, right? We all saw you know, see the Dateline episodes. I mean, you know, it's always money and then the husband or the wife or the mistress or the mister, right? So that's how it always goes. But then they did the Chronicles of Olivia interview, right? Where it was a 20-minute interview once it was edited, right? I'm sure it was a little bit longer because I think they gave Olivia the grand tour, if I'm not mistaken. And then they did the interview at the house. And again, the body language, the language that was used, right? That was the one where Katie said, I have choice words, right? I have some choice words were used. Okay, well, what choice words were they? And then, you know, holy freaking crap, where's my freaking kid and all this weird stuff, right? So she just kind of went off the rails on that one. There we go. Oh God, there's Gypsy Rose. Look at her right in my face. Okay. Yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance, I could probably link a couple of those channels where you can watch the videos on Gypsy Rose if you guys are in the slightest bit interested in that story and in that case, um, it's really sick and twisted, especially everything that's coming out. Because if you want corruption at the highest level, look at Springfield, Missouri. Just look at Springfield, Missouri, and you will see the highest level of corruption. It is absolutely astounding to me, and I lived through it. Don't live there anymore, but as I'm watching it, I just can't even believe some of the things that are coming out that she was fully aware of, and these characters that Gypsy said that she made up uh, to meet Nick Godejohn's other personalities or characters or whatever. Um, those were around far before Nick Godejohn. So that means that Gypsy was doing that before him. So she should probably be in prison still. And they let this psychotic, I mean, she is absolutely batshit crazy. So if you're interested, In the Weeds is one of the channels that's showing all of the videos. Choo-chee, Jip Jip. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about doing a whole live on Jip Jip and about the corruption in Springfield and also the hospitals, because there was a lot of people that knew that she could walk. There was a lot of people that knew she wasn't sick. And I can't wait until it comes out. Like, I can't, it's unraveling right now. So I think I'm going to do it. Either way, check that out. It's really something else. Okay, especially if you're familiar with her story and how she, got to be famous for killing her mom. All right, so previously on Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives, I'm just gonna do a little Christmas recap, right? And then we're gonna get into the micro expressions on day 8 of Sebastian Rogers missing.
Constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop.
It's go time.
So here we are, 8 days now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really
Okay, guys, this is the first one that I want to point out is Chris's batting of his eyelashes, right? When Holly Thompson starts talking about what people are saying about him. And we all know, except maybe not the new people here, but that Chris is very much a person who cares about what other people think of him, because he is a malignant narcissist, in my humble opinion, because I'm not a doctor. But he meets all of the criteria and he shows all of the characteristics and traits of being a narcissist, right? And so with that, he really values what other people think, because if he finds out that someone else is talking bad about him or anything like that, right, or people have negative thoughts of him, it hurts his ego so badly that he cannot take it. He simply cannot take it. It's too much, right? Even if someone says something about him, right? So we see this reaction, and I'm going to back it up. Hey, Matthew, good to see you.
So walk us through. We've got so many people who really.
There it is. Did you see it? Blah, blah, blah. Here it comes.
People who really.
Oh, look at his face. So many people. Oh, he's cringing.
People who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that.
See his arms moving.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you." Say goodnight to his puppies. Say goodnight to his puppies.
All right. So Katie's like said goodnight to his puppies, right? Oh my gosh, with her. That's what made me want to go grab that Nancy Grace clip, and I didn't get a chance to put it in here. But, you know, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? No, ma'am. Oh, what a bunch of crap.
A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
So in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock?
6.
So were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be already in the shower?
I took a
in the living room?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
All right. And then Chris does that, you know, deep breath in and then out, right? Like a sigh, but not really a sigh, right? When somebody sighs, they're more like, you know, but he just kind of like slowly in and out. And in that way, I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. He's calming himself down, in my opinion. Because this is one of them hardball questions he was talking about, you know, even though this is a very softball interview.
With my husband, I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
And so at that point, is that when you call 911, or what's going through your mind? At that point, is that when you call 911, or what's going
Look
through
at Katie,
your
shakes
mind?
her head yes. You guys didn't call 911, Katie, but she's shaking her head yes, even though, right? And Holly Thompson is asking leading questions. She's not asking open-ended questions. She's not asking a yes or no question. She's asking her leading questions, right? So is that when you call 911? Was it maybe when he was in the shower? Right? She does that. Sorry, but she does.
Call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was asked.
And then we got Chris to the rescue. Hey, Kentucky for life.
Or what's going through your mind? Call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was asked, like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, you know, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
This is okay. Yes. Bravo. Thank you so much for coming. I called you to report a crime that I don't have nothing to do with, okay?
Oh, this is a first.
I'm not involved in the crime. I didn't perpetrate the crime. I didn't do anything. Hypothetically, if I had, had done it.
Oh, hypothetically?
Just hypothetically speaking. Let's say I did.
Get your ass in the car. Hypothetically speaking, you're about to get your salad tossed in prison.
All right, guys. So that was just a little silly that I made up. a while ago, right? That's like a throwback. But you know, that's what it usually looks like, right? When somebody like Chris calls in a crime like this, right? The police will like get your ass in the car, right? And you're about to little Miss Sharon. You know, you're gonna get your, you know, salad toss there in prison, you know, because I mean, there's it's so bad, Sam. It's so bad for them. And then, you know, I mean, that's just what I think of when I see this stuff. Oh my goodness, it's a huge red flag, right, Holly? It's like, and then Katie, oh yeah, we called 911, and then Chris to the rescue, right? He's like, oh no, 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 that's not what happened. Please don't tell everybody, because everybody already knew, right, on the internet the night before that Chris and Katie had done that horrible interview with Duchess. And I'm sorry, I don't think that Duchess did a horrible job, right? As a person, I mean, I know that they're related and we found that out later, but as just a YouTuber, right, when you're interviewing the parents of a missing child, you don't know what kind of people they are, right? And I mean, obviously there was more to this story that we know now that we didn't then. But I do think it's funny that, you know, everybody knew, so then they're already feeling guilty, right, when they even tell one lie. And he's sitting right next to Katie and she's going like this. And he's like, you know, and he's watching her out of the corner of his eye too. If you guys will pay attention to those little micros too, he'll look over in his peripheral, you know, like at Katie, back side eye her a little bit. And then he's focusing on what Holly's reaction is as well, because, you know, obviously they're lying. But and they know that they've already told a bunch of people, right? Like everybody watched that interview and everyone was reviewing it. And so they were definitely feeling the heat, right? Even though they really didn't have a reason to, because the general public probably wasn't as aware of Sebastian as they are today, right? And of course, there's a statement that we come to later about Chris saying that he never thought it was going to get this big.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude Project. And
Okay, so Chris is nervous and he's stuttering and scratching his arm. Probably scratching those scratches that are healing up.
Memphis at the St. Jude Project. And Memphis at the St. Jude Project.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this, oh, I think he's probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son.
All right, one thing I want to point out to Pat Brown, the profiler, we went over her analysis of Chris and Katie. In the beginning, she had done a few, you know, a few videos on Chris and Katie's behavior and, you know, as a profiler, what she thought, what her thoughts were on it. And she talks about how Katie shouldn't have been panicked right away, right? Because, you know, it's 6 o'clock, you go into your son's bedroom, he's not in the bed, right? I mean, obviously the bed wasn't made up still, because she said that he went to bed the night before. So he had to have taken his covers down or, you know, however, you know, undid his bed for the night, you know, in theory. But she says that she just went in his room and he wasn't there, right? So panic wouldn't really set in until you check the house and outside, and then you're like, where is he? Where could he be, right? You're more confused at that point than you are panicked, right? Unless maybe, and she says her son's not a runner, he doesn't run, he's never run before, unless maybe they were a runner before. And then you might think, oh shit, they ran again, right? Oh, where'd they go? Oh no, you know, last time they ran away, they were close to the water and I just grabbed, you know, for autistic children. And that's another thing that we were told about Sebastian Rogers' case, is that he's autistic. And so everybody was thinking that he could be drawn to water, but he's not as severe on the spectrum, right? He's more in the know about things. And also we find out that Sebastian doesn't like to get dirty, so he wouldn't be drawn to a pond or a lake or a river, right? So there's that. Because there's a lot of water in the area, guys. When I was there, Jen was pointing out all of the water. Now they had a drought last year, so of course everything's going to be down a little bit, but you know, there's a lot of waterways. You know, they call it Shackle Island, I guess, because of that, and also, oddly enough, because of whiskey. So a little bit of like a side research fun fact, I guess. Um, Kentucky says, I think she also bites her tongue in this one. Another creator pointed it out. Ooh, really? Okay, I'll have to look out for that, Kentucky for Life. Huh. I mean, I also would love to do like a comparison on the first interview and then the 1 year interview with Katie. You know, how she goes, oh shit, you know, he would have turned, you know, and then she says, oh shit, because again, Katie has a problem with talking about Sebastian in the past tense when it's not appropriate, right? When she should be thinking of him still alive. But again, I've also seen families that do both, right? Like, you know, some family members will absolutely believe that their loved one is still out there. Some of the people will think, you know, it's been too long, they're not alive anymore, right? And they get really down in the dumps about it because, you know, the reality is that statistically the longer it is, the worse the outcome, right? So, but if they're being realistic, it's a difference between being realistic and then when we see this behavior with Katie and Chris, because they've absolutely been acting this off and cold as ice. Like someone called Katie a cold fish, I think it was the other night, and she is like cold as ice, right? um and I mean, yes, that is coming from someone who is very sensitive, right? But in the same way, I'm like, yeah, I mean, you would think she would be beside herself. Yeah, it just go floats. Yeah, exactly. Well, and you know how it is when you get like a scab, or like, you know, any of the, like even a scratch, you know, because it starts getting all flaky and stuff. And that's what he was doing, is he was scratching his arms, I think. So, and shout out to Mandy from Spirit Seeker Squad, because she was the one that pointed that out, with the scratch marks. And, you know, they're on Chris's, arms here in this video. You can see them. Um, it's probably because the ugly blue walls, like in the real estate listing. Oh, yeah, those walls they're straight. That light blue is strange color. And then Chris wearing that light blue shirt as well. Maybe CP has fleas. He probably does. He probably does have fleas. He's a dirty dog. Andrea. Thanks, little Miss Sharon. Yeah, that was a great catch, by her. And, you know, she's done a lot of, you know, she pays attention to detail. So she's done a lot of that where she points out just these really different little anomalies there. Okay, here we go.
Doesn't run. He's not a runner. He's never run away before. He's never run away before. He's never run away before.
Okay, so again, with Chris, looking at Katie, looking over here at the interviewer, Holly Thompson, looking again, like he just keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I don't know why. 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 I don't know why he walked out that door.
See, and then right over again, he does it again. It's the strangest thing ever. And I think it's because he's checking to see what Katie's saying and then what the reaction is going to be by Holly.
I don't know why he walked out that door.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means. But there's answers to questions that have no answers, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately, and we just don't have that. We are searching for desperately, and we're desperately.
Do you see that? That is weird. And I don't know what he's doing there, but he's like desperately, right? And he does this weird like backward motion, right? He's like desperately. It's very strange. Again, I'll just play it back.
We are searching for desperately, and we're desperately. And
I mean, and look at Katie. She's like all in her own little world. Like, it's the weirdest thing. She's just staring off into space, right? She's got that million-mile stare. And he's saying, we want to find him desperately. And she's not agreeing with him. She's not listening to what Chris is saying, anything like that. She's just going back and forth and acting like basically very dissociated, right? Disengaged. Like, it's very bizarre because you would think that she would be listening to what Chris was saying and saying, yeah, we're desperately searching for him. Yes, but she doesn't do that. She's completely dissociated herself from the situation, in my opinion. Hey, Joneson, good to see you. Oh, that's not Joneson, I guess. That's freaking weird. All right, Chris is saying you just blew our cover. He's saying you just blew our cover story. Exactly, Brenda. Exactly. It's a nursery room girl. It's like for a little baby. It's for baby Chris. He likes baby blue. Okay, I thought I lost you guys for a second there. Okay, so she's as cold as ice. Leslie says she is. I mean, and like I said, just completely dissociated from what is happening, what is going on, right? And what Chris is saying. It's very strange. And not one time. Now, this isn't the entire interview, so just to be fair, I did clip this interview up and edit it, right? You know that because I'm doing slow jam on it. But the whole entire interview, Chris never like pats Katie. Oh, there, darling. I know we're gonna find him. We'll find him, sweetheart. Nothing like that, right? Not even a smidge. Not even a handhold. Not even anything. A back rub. Nothing. Zero. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because you'd think you'd be absolutely comforting the other person, especially if it wasn't your child, right? Because Chris is the stepfoot. He's not stepdad, he's stepfoot. But he's not his father, right? Seth is his father. And so in that regard, as a person, an outsider looking in, you would definitely be like trying to comfort her, right? And let's be honest, I don't know how far back Chris started staying away from the house. I know that in early February, it said that he was staying mostly full time in Memphis. And I think sometimes he would stay in Mississippi, or I think it was Mississippi, wasn't it? Sorry, there was another campground that he would frequent, allegedly. So, Um, yeah, see, she was probably not supposed to say that, Brenda, because he does. He looks over at her and he's constantly eyeballing her, right? And then whenever she's talking certain points, he's looking at her, right? But his head like goes fast over to her, right? Um, to see what she's going to say, and then fast back to Holly, see what she's thinking, or what kind of facial expressions she's making. Yogi Bear Campgrounds, thank you, Meow, thank you so much. Yeah, that's the one. So he was at Easy Days and then Yogi Bear, that's right. And I always found that odd that Sebastian and Katie never went up to those campgrounds, because those are very kid and family friendly areas that he was staying. So it's strange to me that they never did like a camping trip. I mean, because if you're camping in a camper, it's glamping, right? Especially in a nice fifth wheel. It's completely different than sleeping in a tent. Um, Chris is saying you just blew your cover story. Yes, exactly. He has no compassion, Coffee, Crime, and Cats, and you would think he would, given the situation. Very scripted, though. I don't believe much of this story at all. At all, Did you see him walk out that door, Katie? Hey, Janet. Like he's just flopping around the exactly, Sam. And then Katie is very distracting. So with these interviews, it's really hard because Katie's over there doing one thing and then Chris is doing another thing, right? So you have Katie going like this, back and forth, and that's very distracting if you're moving and everything, and then you're focusing on what Chris is doing, right? And Chris is pretty still, but there's moments where you can see his hands moving around. Um, and that's could be a sign of nerves, right? Or nervousness. Hey, Lori, good to see you. Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. And hey, Reptile Wildlife, thank you for being here. Um, let's see who else is in here that's just came in. Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for being here, even everybody in the bushes. Um, Horn Lake, Mississippi. Thank you. Horn Lake, Mississippi, Brenda. I was thinking, I was like, wasn't it Mississippi? Because I remember thinking, could they, the FBI have gotten involved, right? Because there's a $50,000 reward through the FBI for Sebastian's safe return or whereabouts about him, that sort of thing. $50,000 reward given by the FBI. So could that be the reason why, is because of the connection to Horn Lake, Mississippi with Chris Proudfoot, right? Because everybody else doesn't have interstate connections, right? I mean, they do in terms of family members, but all of us have that, or a lot of us do have people that are living in this state, living in that state, living in this state. So, but I think because of him crossing the state lines, and I was wondering that if that could have been one of the reasons why the FBI felt so inclined to put that out there. And also, let me grab Sebastian's FBI flyer to share with you guys as well. No, I want the one. Yeah. So no, I want the one from the FBI. Dang it. Okay. Sorry, that took a minute. It brought me to some other page. Hey, Bling and Beezy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Gray is nice. I like gray, which you wouldn't think gray would be a nice color, right? But it is nice. I do like it. Cece says, I painted my walls that color. I was aiming for gray and the lighting made it turn bluish. I just kept going with it because Lowe's is 39 miles from me. That's funny. Yeah, Cece. And it is a nice, like, cooler color, but I like grays as well on the wall. Hey, couponing. Merry Christmas. Hey, Super Sleuth. Good to see ya. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. Laura says, in my opinion, if you can't look someone in the eyes, you aren't telling the truth, Katie. Well, and that's a big one, right? That's a very big one for me, is that Katie will not look at people, right? She's always looking down. So that's a good one to point out, Laura, because yeah, it's amazing that um she can kind of get away with that in terms of, like, I think that she was believable to Holly Thompson. I think Holly Thompson believed them, and there's this part in the video later on here where it's actually it's sad because Holly is like almost in tears, and she's saying like my whole church is praying for you guys, and just dead eyes from Proudfoot, right? Katie's over there, who, acting like her weird self in this. But I zeroed in on him, and he's just like sitting there like, I mean, it's the weirdest thing ever. Hey, Crown Moon Studio says, when Chris looked at Katie, I think it was her acting job was impressive to him. Nice. That very well could be. He was like, good job. High-fiving. Yeah, and I think a lot of times these people do think they're doing a good job. I think they think that they're very believable until they hear other people's reactions to it, and then like with Chris and Katie, they get mad about it, right? They're like, "Well, how come they didn't believe us?" and they demand that we believe them, but it's because they're not believable at all. I mean, to anybody, especially people who have lost their children, right? Because you guys have told me stories as well about that, and they don't act normal to people who have experienced it, right? That was a really big thing in the beginning with Chris and Katie. They would talk about how we wouldn't wish this on anyone. That I took some of that out because we've gone over that. But just kind of revisiting it briefly, I don't wish that on anyone. I wouldn't wish that on, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Even Katie said I wouldn't even wish this on Seth at one point in these interviews. Just the craziest thing. And it started out being kind of a weird, just the way it was said. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, it almost seemed like an accusation after a while with Katie, you know, like, I wouldn't want you to be in my shoes and stuff like that. Like she started saying it quite frequently. And again, it's this reaction to them not being believed by anyone, right? Except for a small little subgroup on YouTube, in my opinion. So
we just don't have that.
Is there anything that happened that day that you think back and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside? Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving. It'd make more sense if we'd been fighting. He was behaving. It'd make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or you've been in trouble, but he hasn't been in trouble. Sorry. Or you've been in trouble, but he hasn't been in trouble.
Did you see Katie right there? She's like, right? Like, it's like almost like she's recalling how bad it gets when Sebastian's in trouble, right? Mm.
Trouble. Sorry. Or you've been in trouble, but he hasn't been in trouble. Sorry. Hey, the $1 million question. Why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
I'm your defense attorney. okay, is to get
That's
you
good.
acquitted
Yes.
of all charges.
All charges.
Well,
That's $1 million question.
I mean, what you want to just say to the answer to that question is no, I did not.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way on his phone?
All his friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything. So
this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
And no one can figure out where or why. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
And no one can figure out where or why. Does he like music?
Oh,
He loves music.
an eclectic taste.
I
An
mean,
eclectic. No hip hop.
Classic.
We don't allow the hip hop.
well, he doesn't really
Well, I
get
say
into it
rap and
anyways.
things.
Outdoorsy be enticing to him? Outdoorsy be enticing to him or pull him outdoors?
He loves.
All right, Chris is like, I don't know, right? Even though he's the stepdad, he is like, I don't know, you know? It's like weird. Why didn't he say, yeah, we like to go fishing, right? He's like, who knows?
Like when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money. It was a fundraiser. And every year he was, I did this many laps. I mean, I've got t-shirts where they would write on his back. Every time the kids went around, they'd mark a mark on the back and they'd keep running. And he just had marks all the way across his back. He likes playgrounds. He hates being dirty. He don't like being dirty.
Yeah, he's not your tomboy style child where he goes outside and plays in the mud.
He loves animals, but he's terrified of bugs.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even a fly, and he's like,
All right. So, again, this was another strange moment in the interview, and anyone who's paying attention can kind of figure that out, right? I mean, Katie is saying to all of us that Sebastian left in the middle of the night with no shoes on, right? And then she says that he doesn't like to get dirty. He doesn't even like a fly, right? So even a fly that's not very harmful, he just doesn't like bugs at all. So why would he go out into the bugs? That's the craziest thing that I've ever heard. And how can we, believe that? It's so unbelievable. But they're demanding that we believe it. Oh, hey, Seth. Good to see you, Seth. Katie Proudfoot, will you please tell me what you did where Sebastian is? Chris, the $1 million question is, where is Sebastian? Exactly. Thank you, Seth. Exactly. The $1 million question is, where is Sebastian? Right? Because we don't even need to know how he got out of the house, even though a lot of us have speculated so heavily on that. But the $1 million question, where is Sebastian? Right? Yeah, thank you for being here, Seth, and Merry Christmas. MSCS says those interviews get worse the more I see them. Red flags all over and over. I know MSCS. I agree with that. And I was just going in to look for his pervy comment, right? Because I wanted to roast him, but then I started going back through this again. And I'm like, this is so unbelievable, right? And then watching each of them, and then I started getting into watching what they were each, doing. Because again, I've come to a conclusion, which I could be wrong, but I think that their story is, maybe 50-50, if that true, right? Like they're telling some things that are true, but then they're leaving a lot out. They're, too big of lapses in time, and the story doesn't make sense, right? And then as they're filling in the gaps, we do see more and more red flags, right? Just like when Katie says, well, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And then Sebastian answers her back, which we didn't hear about that, right? And then he says, no, ma'am. That's what she told Nancy anyway. Yeah, I know. I know, Cece, and it's just over and over again, you know? Oh, which statement? Did I miss one from Leslie? Sorry, I scrolled up. I must not have scrolled up enough. Does anyone remember a statement CP in an interview that KP was grieving the loss of her son? I do remember that. I do. Bling and BZ. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because they've also joined some grief groups. I think that's the one that he was talking about that with, which isn't, necessarily a bad thing. Thank you, Chuchi. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So, but it is a strange thing. Well, even in in the most recent interview with Duchess, when Katie went on for Sebastian's birthday, um, they talk about how it would be something that Sebastian wanted. It's what Sebastian would have wanted. And that's one thing that they don't understand when Katie's being so careful as to not use, past tense when speaking about Sebastian. She absolutely screwed the pooch on that one, right? Because she again used it in an inappropriate way, as in saying that Sebastian's not going to come back, right? So that's the problem. So I know marks across his back, that always has bothered me, Sam. And I left it in there just, for good measure. I really did, because, again, that's not what they were being asked for. So good night, Seth. Good night. I know. It's ugh. You can fast forward to the end of the video where I make fun of them. For their shittiness. Because I don't, guys, I just don't believe them. I just don't. I don't believe them. There's so many little things that, just like we were talking about, that just don't make any sense. That are quite disturbing, again, and new things that pop in every single time, knowing what we know now. Holly says, I'm going to be listening in the bushes. Stay pervy. Thank you for being here, Holly. That's funny. Guilty of a Crime says, just stopped by to show love to all of you. Merry Christmas. Aw, thanks, Guilty of a Crime. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you. May Sebastian Rogers be brought home, and hello. Aw, to Holly S. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Guilty of a Crime. Really appreciate you being here. Aw. Janet says, KP, well, where is Sebastian? Last person to be with Sebastian. Well, and that's it. I mean, I think that's where, I kind of get stuck, right? Because even though, like I said, I can't tell you all how he got out of the house. I really can't. I just think that the front door isn't, an option. Neither is his window, especially if everything was locked up. And there was no footage of him in the neighborhood. So that's why I think that. But then I also don't think that Sebastian would have left without his shoes. So that's another reason why I don't think he just left by himself. He didn't bring anything with him. No phone, no nothing. And I mean, think about it like this, or I'm thinking about it like this. If that was something that was heavily restricted and he was going to go leave out, don't you think he would have grabbed that? And again, maybe he did it because he didn't want to be tracked, some people might say. But in the same way, I would think that he would have grabbed his money, his, everything, So, yeah, Katie, thank you. Thanks, Guilty of a Crime. Yeah, absolutely. Katie holds the key to finding Sebastian, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely. And, that's something that was so, one thing that stuck out that Peter Hyatt had said as well, like Katie just knows, right? And she was the last one with him. And then we see the interviews with Katie, and they have this really guilty behavior. Again, the Only Hands interview was really, really guilty. Like, that really sealed the deal for me. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is not good. I've never seen this before, you know? Um, so in her interview with Duchess, KP also stated that Sebastian left when it was very dark outside, which is another slip up from her. Hey, Bling and Beezy, that's a great point. You know, I mean, yeah, very, very dark out, right? But he doesn't like the dark. And that is reminiscent of Jaden Spicer's case for me, right? A lot of things are reminiscent of that case for me when it comes to Katie's story, even, right? Like, I mean, I know there's the different set of circumstances, right? With Jaden. Jaden's a little bit younger. Jaden was put with his mother, who wasn't really supposed to have custody of him. And so that's a little bit different because Katie, you know, had full custody, or excuse me, 50-50 custody. There wasn't anything or any issues there, per se. But it's very reminiscent because, you know, just like Felicia Gross said, oh, he went to bed at 9 o'clock, and then she said about 8 o'clock, you know, she noticed he was missing. There's a huge lapse in time there. But I would have thought Sebastian would have taken at least something with him, especially maybe if he had gone with someone, right? Gotten into a vehicle with someone. Say he made plans and didn't want to be tracked on his cell phone. He would have at least taken his money, right? He would have at least taken shoes. He would have taken a coat, and that sort of thing. Hey, Crazy Bird, Merry Christmas. Thanks for being here. Hey, children belong to God. Good to see you. She says, hi, Seth. Hugs to you. Aw, that's very sweet. Thank you for that. But yeah, just not adding up at all. Oh, sorry, guys. I came down for a second and I will cam back up again. But so yeah, very, very, very interesting interview. Even today, it's amazing. I'm glad that you're as intrigued with it as I still am, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm putting way too many pieces into this. But like every time I would go to, you know, stop, and then they would get into another subject, and I was like, okay, let's see what he does this time, right? And I was looking at both of them during that. One thing we all know for sure, Sebastian did not walk out of the front door of that house. It would be on camera. Yeah, thank you. And that's where I'm at with that as well. MSCS. I mean, right. And I mean, from the get-go, even Chris was saying, you know, there's a Ring camera across the street, and he said that to Smiley. You know, he goes, he would have been caught on camera. And then he tells Trisha on Web Sleuths that any door that he could have walked out of would have been the front door, and that was in May, right? So he's telling Smiley, you know, if he would have went out his window, he would have been caught on the Ring camera. Same thing with the front door, but also that if he went out his window, he would have been, you know, he would have stepped on something and we would have all heard him, right? And then that was a huge slip up. So and it would have had to have happened again from Katie's account, if we're to believe her, midnight, right? She went to bed, so then she's on the other side of the house, and then the front door is on, you know, kind of the opposite end, right where Sebastian's is. So another thing to consider there. Hey, Shadow, good to see you. Good to see you. Aw, thanks, Brenda Calvert. Thank you for the green hearts. 400 cameras, Sam. Yeah, that's a great point too. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, there's how many freaking cameras, and Chris knows every single one of them. It's absolutely absurd. You know, and he says these things without even realizing what he's saying. You know, he's Mr. Know-it-all because his huge ego, right? And I know everything. I know how many cameras were there and how many of them were working and everything. It's like, oh, you do? You don't say. All right, that's good to know. Because I have no idea how many cameras are even in our little neighborhood, right? I mean, that would be impossible to know. Some people have them on their, doorbell, door cameras and stuff like that. But some people have them around the property, pointing towards their vehicles, whatever. Aw, thanks, Chuchi. Thank you. With her not, children belong to God, says, with her not telling Sebastian that she loved him too, that worries me bad. That is pure guilt. So I agree with that. And that's a huge red flag right from the beginning as well, right? And I think that was another one Peter Hyatt brought up, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, I always like to go back to the experts, right? And just kind of see what they have had to say about these interviews. And I think that was one of the ones. Oh, it was Deception Detective did as well. He also said that very same thing. Um, and I think all of us were kind of taken back by that, right? Like, he said, "I love you, mama. I love you, puppies," but just the way that she says it. And, that being the last thing, if that is truly the last thing that Sebastian said to her, that would have been a more sentimental, emotional moment, in my opinion, right? You're like thinking back, recalling the last time you talked to your child. I mean, guys, I know I'm probably oversensitive, right? But yeah, that would have got me. That would have got me. Yeah, he knew the highway cameras weren't working. Yeah, and see, that's another thing that is so hard to overlook. And this is something that he was bragging about knowing to a former law enforcement officer, Hatfield and McCoy Museums. Um, another interesting thing in the post made by CP Sister on her Facebook page regarding Sebastian may have fallen asleep in the back seat of a vehicle. Yes, and then somebody like drove to work and didn't notice he was in the back seat. Yes, Bling and Beezy, I remember that. And then she also made a big, mistake, saying we've been searching since 6:30, right? Because according to Katie, even here, she's saying that she was on the phone with her husband. They don't say anything about the three-way call here, right? They just say we called law enforcement, we called the sheriff's department, kind of a thing. But again, Katie shakes her head yes when they talk about calling 911. Oh, thank you, Crazy Bird. She says this family needs our prayers. Jerica Harmed has been missing for 18 months from Lincoln, Nebraska. Her body was found last week, rural Oxford, Nebraska. Oh my goodness. Aw. She had 2 little girls. Oh my. All right. Sending prayers, hugs, and love to Jerica's family. Oh my. That is so sad, Crazy Bird. Aw. Did they ever find out what happened or who could have done that to her? Like maybe somebody close to her. I always think it's somebody close. Thank you, Chi-Chi, for the green hearts. Yeah, great point, Bling and Beezy. Great point. Aw. Nicole Mark, good to see you. She says, what if KP picked someone up on the way home? That person is whom we see at 3 a.m. Lights video. That's a good point, Nicole. Good to see you, hun. So I think that's very possible. And that spot that stop 30 right there, it's just so easy. Like say somebody had dropped somebody off and, they were waiting there. Katie could have quick pulled in there and then pulled out of there and went home. So, and if there was only one person holding one light source and 2 people were walking, I mean, that's a high probability, right? That could have been the case. And someone had helped, perhaps carry Sebastian out and then got into the vehicle at 3 a.m. Very good point. Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. So, right? Yeah, see, my child loves me. She's telling a lie. Exactly. Yeah. And, why wouldn't she say love you too, right? Or why isn't she talking about Bubba, right? Because she was talking about that the night before. Very true. Yep. Aw, that is so sad, Crazy Bird. Hey, lovable Mama Bear, good to see ya. They say her boyfriend. Okay, her boyfriend. Yeah, he's already in jail, and another. Oh, from another matter. Oh, okay, they will file M charges this coming week. Oh, okay, so they know. Oh, great. Just okay. Well, justice for Jerica then. They will. Yeah, they have done 3 large searches in the area last year. Oh my goodness. And it's only a matter of time, I think. I know the cemetery is another one, guys. And like I said, I went back and showed the video that I took when I was there, and you could, I mean, that um, columbarium is highly reflective, right? It's like just looking at a mirror. Um, yeah, it really makes you wonder what they were doing in there. It really does. That's for sure. And justice for Melody Buzzard. Buzzard, I need to make a video on Melody. Oh, she's just a little doll, and just I think that one's really just tough for me because she reminds me a lot of my daughter, like that the hair and that is very sad. What happens in the dark always comes to light. That's right. Do you understand this, Chris and Katie? I get it, Crazy Bird. Ooh, you just gave me a little bit of a chill there because it's true. Hey, little Redo, good to see you. Merry Christmas, little Redo. Okay, here's our next piece here. Oh, we're okay. We don't have much.
Let's talk too, because he's highly functioning. I know you all have described him as having a form of autism.
He does.
But just describe that to our viewers too, as far as his way of thinking of things and maybe how determined he was about certain things or his mindset.
He's got a stubborn mindset. If he believes it's this,
he gets on a one-man track and he is just on it, and he is all about it.
All right, so just really quick, I always will remember Chris McDonough talking about this part where they do the one-track mind and he's on it, and they're both doing the same exact thing. Again, highly rehearsed story. So it's hard to believe that. I mean, I even want to say it's probably like 40%, right? True. And then the rest is just, bull crap, in my opinion.
Custody situation.
All right, child custody situation, and look at Chris's face, and he does a nervous laugh.
And he is all about it.
This child custody situation with the previous.
So I have a current case that is ongoing in another state. We've requested that case to be sealed because there are some individuals who have taken upon themselves to put stuff out there that they don't quite know, which all they have to do is ask. I'll tell you.
Remember that, you guys? Remember when Chris was like, all you got to do is just, ask me and I'll tell you. All you got to do is, hit me up on Facebook, all of this stuff that he was saying in the beginning. And then he was like, oh, well, people are harassing me. Like he totally flipped the script and turned it around. Like, oh yeah, but he was telling people, reach out. All you got to do is ask me. So, that kind of allowed people to think, okay, well, if I send him a, private message or something like that, or slide into his DMs and have a question for him, then that's okay. He invited it in, which was probably one of the worst things that he could have done. One of the big mistakes in Sebastian's case, right? But also, Chris is very embarrassed and doesn't want this information out, and he would rather do damage control behind the scenes than hear about it later, in my opinion. And so that's why he's like, yeah, hit me up, you know, and I'll tell you all about it. But then when he realized the magnitude of people that were going to be hitting him up because they were, you know, worried about this or curious about this, he bit off a little bit more than he could chew, in my opinion.
But because of that, you know, it has nothing to do with our son. It has nothing to do with the situation. You know, I just people would respect that and then keep an open mind. It's totally different.
Let's talk about the community, because I want you all to know, even my church body, I mean, we're all praying for his safe return quickly. What do you all want to say to the community? I mean, we're all praying for his safe return.
I mean, look, and then he gulps, right? Right there, you can see him gulp. I'll rewind it. So she's saying, you know, I mean, and she's about in tears, right? Like, we're all praying. My whole community at church is praying for you that, you know, that he's going to be returned safely to you. Sebastian will be. And look at Chris. And then watch what he does here. This is crazy to me because I don't think I've ever really noticed this before.
What do you all want to say to the community? I mean, we're all praying for his safe return quickly. What do you all want to say to the community?
Right? So he just looks off and it's like, yeah, sure. Right? Like he knows more than he's letting on, right? Or that has been stated. So, hey, Brenda Brown, good to see you. Merry Christmas, SI officer. Thanks for being here. Hey, guys, welcome in. So, yeah, very, very, very odd here when she says everyone's praying. You know, you would think he would say thank you. You would think that he would shake his head, all right, you know, that he might have, you know, the brows might go, you know, down a little bit because he's feeling a certain type of way. None of that. He just stares off blankly and then he looks away. And I'll show you guys again.
We're all praying for his safe return quickly. What do you all want to say to the community?
Weird.
With everything from the bottom of our hearts. I would not have imagined how far this has gotten. I would not have imagined how far this has gotten. That is not something that I believe we're privy to at this point.
Who's at the door? Is that the guy with my pills? No, it's not anyone with pills for you, darling, okay? I called that motherfucker 3 hours ago. This is my lovely wife. She celebrates Christmas with vodka and muscle relaxers. And here, every day is Christmas. Wait, where the fuck are my kids? What do you mean, where are the kids? You're supposed to be watching them out back, Autumn. No, they were being watched by the babysitter. The babysitter quit 4 months ago when you threw up on her. Don't you fucking yell at me! Don't excuse us a minute. That's not the only thing we gotta get working again, if you know what I mean. Why do you have to say things like that in front of me? Come on, it's time to sit around the tree. We're having a talk, honey. God damn it, it's Christmas and we're gonna be a happy family around the tree. Autumn, you're drunk. All right, now just go help the other kids. They can't get their stockings up. That's not the only thing they can't get up around.
All right, guys. All right. So that was a little bit of a roast at the end there. But, you know, we talk about Chris and Katie being, you know, the polished turds. And, you know, that's just part of what we do over here at Lady Freedom. Because, you know, it's been like that from the beginning, in my opinion. It's been like that from very early on. We had people that were trying to make the Proudfoot be, you know, better than who they are, in my opinion, right? Like they're, they're constantly doing that. And I'm not going to name any names. We all kind of know who's been doing that. I made that little red. I made that. Usually I can get the face to stick on there a little bit better, but oh boy, those ones take a long time because you got to cut them up. You got to cut them up. I thought that was too funny though. I almost put a picture of Crabtree in there. But I thought that would be a little bit much. You know, he didn't do nothing to Sebastian, so hopefully not. So the cocktail, the little martini. Oh my goodness. Oh, a green hoodie Grinch. Oh, I didn't see that little red. Thanks. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just wanted to make you guys laugh. And, you know, I found that little throwback when I was looking for the other interview that I had just done, because we just did the Holly Thompson interview not too long ago. I think it was before Pigfest is really, I think so. It had to have been like August or September when we did it. So yeah, it's been a while. I know I need. I did take a picture of Fish Sticks. I took a screen grab of him. Oh God, was it on my other phone? Oh Lord, help me. There's no reason I should have that in my phone. But it was from the year. Well, I was looking at the year anniversary one, where they came out with that footage and saying that, you know, the guy that was, or the kid that was looking for his cat could have been Sebastian, and all of, you know, all that mess. And I know that he went on Vinny Palatine lately and said that, and I just can't bring myself to watch it because I really like Vinny, and then I'm like mad at Nancy Grace for some of the stuff that the drone, I'm upset with Nancy about. So, let me see if I have it on this one though, because sometimes it transfers over. Sometimes it doesn't. It just depends, or if I do an airdrop. Let me see. Oh no, it didn't transfer over. Oh, and see, this is why. Okay, yeah, I see. Okay. That's so sweet. I just saw Andrea's post again. But yeah, fish sticks is right there in the mix of everything, right? He's just right there. Is it? It's hot and muggy in Texas? Really? That's interesting, little Redo. I think they drink rot gut booze because she gambles too much. Oh no. You know, I have not been able to drink like anything in a long time. You know, like when you're younger, it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. And then like when you get older, you're like, no, I need to find something good. Otherwise, it's not even worth it, right? Lady, what's the deal with Nancy and the drone? Well, okay, so my beef with Nancy is because they had SF Fish Sticks, right, on the show talking about Emmanuel Haro's case. And they were asking him questions on the panel because it seems like, and I don't know this for sure, but what it appears to be, in my opinion, is that SF gets the drone footage. He, you know, sells it to one of the big networks, and then they have him on the panel. Like it's like a trade-off or something. I don't know if they actually pay him for the footage, or if he says, hey, I'll give you my drone footage if I can get some airtime. I don't know what it is, but it does appear that it goes hand in hand, right? They're using his drone footage, they have him on the panel. So, and maybe they just have him up on the panel to explain the drone footage. I don't know. I mean, all he did was drive the drone over their house for like, I don't know, like 20 minutes. It doesn't look like a lot of footage. It just looks like him flying the drone over their house. heaven forbid someone did that to the Proudfoot, right? And then here's Nancy like, oh yeah, I'll take that footage and has them on the panel. Well, then they get to talking about no body cases. And I'm like, but you were paid $1,500, blah, scratch that, $15,000 to not talk about Sebastian Rogers, right? Because when he goes on there, he starts talking about Harmony Montgomery, which I'm glad he talks about Harmony, right? I mean, that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. But for him not to even mention Sebastian Rogers, and then they start talking about no body cases and how there's circumstantial evidence and the stories didn't match up and all of the things that happened in Sebastian Rogers' case. So again, I've asked other people this question. So I'd have to ask this to Nancy Grace, Fish Sticks, I mean, even Vinny. How come you can put your detective cap on, right, in certain cases, but then in Sebastian Rogers, you can't, you seem to have lost your detective cap? Because it's the same premise. It's the same story. Hola, punch in the face. It doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. And then that's why nobody believes it. And everyone's like, what the hell? Did she just say hola, punch in the face, and then they took the baby? Right? Because I mean, that's what I was watching it, and I'm like, did she say hola? And then someone knocked her out? Like, and I think everybody had that same reaction. Just like everyone would have the same reaction with Katie. Oh, he was playing. He was just playing. No, Katie, not quite. Right? What happened when you guys got home? So, and then she's like, I let him stay up a little bit late that night. So, he's 15 years old and you're what? Making him go to bed at 8:30? That's weird in and of itself, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm just not happy with the way that people forget about Sebastian, because, and that's probably why I could never work for a big network. Because I just couldn't, put my face on like, oh yeah, and I don't know what's going on in this case. Oh, you don't say. Same thing with America's Most Wanted. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, in my opinion. And I couldn't just get up there all diddly doo-dah and report on a bunch of bullshit. I could never do that. I'd probably say something out loud on the air and, get my ass fired for it. Brenda says, it sounds like at night intelligence is getting close in the Sebastian Rogers case. They said Green Hoodie is definitely a man and is related to Proudfoot. Okay, so yes, Brenda. I think it could very well be like that little weirdo guy in their family. And he's an RSO. And I think it could be him. He definitely has the red hair. Oh, cool, Shadow. Was that fun? I love looking at the lights. Like, that's the best, just like getting hot cocoa and then driving through like the lights and stuff. Oh, I love that. The palm trees out here look so pretty with the lights on them. Fish sticks. CC. Fish sticks is putting himself in the middle of a bunch of cases right now, and he's constantly on Nancy Grace. I know, and I cannot. And also, I heard that he was going to get in some big trouble with his Discord, but I haven't heard anything since about it. But apparently, he was doing some unethical behaviors on Discord with young children, not young children, but young kids. So in that David case, so, SF and gray pubes. Oh, Sam, that guy is something else. That gray pubes guy is something else. I really like watching him when Josh does the reviews on his videos. It's hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. They just have for whatever reason, they're like, hey, let's have gray pubes on tonight. And everybody's like, boo. And in the comments, everybody's like, no. And then like, you know, but like Court TV is like, we love gray pubes. We love gray pubes. Like, it's terrible. You know, and then I wanted to go to Crime Con, but then I'm like, why would I want to go to Crime Con when there's like a lot of people there that I'm just like not impressed with anymore, right? And I'm pissed off at them. So why would I want to go take a picture with that, you know? I guess I could go there and give them a piece of my mind, you know, but hey, Mosquito Bite, good to see you. Do you know which statement analysis it was that talked about Olivia's video and zoned in on Katie saying, well, we got up? Let's see. We got up. I'm trying to think. We got up. Like talking about when she got up in the morning to go wake up Sebastian. Fish Sticks is not smart enough to fly a drone, so he probably stole it. Oh my god. I won't watch anyone anymore that has fish sticks on. I won't either, Crazy Bird. I can't. And leave a comment letting them know. That's funny. No, I just at Nancy Grace. I repost the video and then I'll be like at Nancy Grace. But see, that's why I'm like, I don't even want to, you know, watch them anymore. So I don't either. Because yeah, the last time I did, I was like, at Nancy Grace, what are you doing? How could you have SF on your show? You know, knowing what happened with Sebastian. Hey, Joe, Merry Christmas. SI officer says exactly, stop the freaking BS, in my opinion. And it is, it's absolutely crazy. Like, here we are, how many months later, and we're coming upon the 2-year mark. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the circumstantial evidence, in my opinion, is there. And like I said, I went on a little bit of a rant with this too, because I was like, you know, if, you know, Chris over at Mob has all of these files full of information, right? I mean, I have a lot of files too full of information, but, you know, I'm talking about like footage, right? That could be helpful. That has been pretty helpful. And you know, I have to get caught up on it. But okay, so lots of good footage, very helpful footage. You know, the police have all of that and then some, right? I mean, I keep going back to Tony Mathis talking about this time last year that they had a mountain of evidence. A mountain of evidence. So what's going on? How come we can't get things moving? So Jake Harrow got beat down in prison already. Really? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. He deserves it. Like, that's one person that I'm like, oh, that's good. You know, which usually I wouldn't say that. But yeah. Yeah, what he's done to little kids is absolutely sickening. I can't believe, you know, ugh. Yeah. Oh, no worries, Leslie. I need to check with Cinderella because I don't see her in here tonight. And I thought, so I checked to see if anybody was, or if she was taken out or hidden, but she wasn't. So I don't know what's going on there. La La Land and lies. She's telling herself, ignore the harsh reality of what was done. Yeah, and that's a big thing too. And you know, her dissociating herself from the situation, right? She's just like not even distancing herself, which she's done many times, but when she's even in the moment, she's not there. Right? Katie is just like, you know, staring off into space. In my opinion, he was in the room unless he was at school or the car doing something, they really did test him bad, yeah, or treat him bad. Yeah, I agree, Little Red. I agree. I think that Katie would probably tell Sebastian, go in your room, so she wouldn't have to deal with him, right? Which I'm not saying that Sebastian was a lot to deal with. I mean, we saw him at the Texas Roadhouse. And I know that I can't just go off of one tiny little clip with no sound. But then I look at the green tea video, right? And he's adorable. I think back to when he was very, very little and he was playing tag on the playground, and there were quite a few little girls playing, and Sebastian just would go up so lightly and tap them, right? It wasn't like, he was just like this maniac, no offense, but like some of these little boys are like little maniacs out there. And they're like crashing down. You got to be like, hey, play nice with the girls, Sebastian was very, very aware. And then fast forward a little bit, or maybe that was around the same time of his Christmas pageant, right? And he's fixing the little girl's sash next to him, or her little tie that she had that they were wearing for the show. Considerate, kind, right? Would stop what he was doing, which he was having a ball. He was excited. He was dancing around. They were doing their pageant. And he realized that someone next to him was struggling with something, right? And so he helped her, and then he got right back into it, right? And so that shows character. I read something somewhere, I don't know if it's still, if new science has come up with something new on that, but it said that kids typically develop their personality around the age of 5, right? You kind of develop that, and we're always growing and continuing to grow on that, but really like who they are, they're kind of their basis, right, is about 5 or 6 years old, depending. I read that somewhere anyway. So if that's true, you can see that in Sebastian from a very young age, his personality, right? Not someone that you would think would be looking at, behavioral school. And with that being said, when you live with a narcissist, sometimes there's reactive abuse. Sometimes you catch fleas from the narcissist, especially if you're a child and you're modeling behaviors of the adults who are supposed to be your role models. So I do always like to, preface that. But if we think about it, Sebastian was doing just fine at the Texas Roadhouse. He had that same personality, that same kindness towards others. When, one of the servers came up to the table, he smiled at them, right? He acknowledged them. So I think that says a lot about Sebastian. Now we look at Chris and Katie and we see that the way that they act is completely different. So Chris and Katie kind of think that they have an entitled behavior about them, an air about them, in my opinion. Yeah, I think the green hoodie is that person. I know that TJ had sent me an email. I guess Lolly said that she thinks it's Chris Carr's son, which I think that the green hoodie person is older than his son. I don't think it's Chris Carr's son. I'm sorry. I don't want to, upset anybody with a different opinion, but I believe that it's probably this guy character. Hey, Poppy Love, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. That's right. Accept accountability. And here's the thing. I don't know how they walk around just, all willy-nilly free. Oh, no big deal. It's very bizarre, in my opinion. We really don't know who it is. I don't understand why all the other people were clear, but Hoodie was not. Why is it now all of a sudden the picture got cleared enough to see? I don't know. Is there a new picture out, Little Red? Because I didn't see it. I did not see it if there's a new one out. Because that's always been my problem, right? We've talked about that, you and I. Like, why is this picture, like, why can't you see facial features? Like, if I take a snapshot of Sebastian or Katie from the Texas Roadhouse, I can see them. I can see them both. I can see Sebastian's facial features. I can see Katie's facial features. I can see all of it clearly. When I take a picture of the yellow jacket, right, a still outside, I can see it, you know, morphing into Sebastian on a video, slow motion, right? Slow jam the video and you see it coming into focus. Or you take a still and you can see clearly what is on that gentleman's phone. Why can't we see the green hoodie? And yeah, she's flailing around, and like I said, when someone's in motion and there's, you know, you're taking pictures of a video, it's difficult, right? So you have to pause it and then you take a picture. Because if you just take a picture, it's going to be blurred. It's going to be completely blurred. So, oh no. So did Joe get timed out, or did? Oh, hold on. Let me check. Give me a minute here. Oh wait, hold on. I see Cinderella. Oh, I saw Cinderella in Discord. All right, sorry. Hold on, guys. Oh, okay. Hold on. Are you having trouble being? Oh, here. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. And let me check on Joe too. Hey, Angela. Happy or Merry Christmas. Hey, Sammy. Merry Christmas. Welcome in, guys. Thanks for being here. All right. And how about the one interview where they try not to burst out laughing at one another, acting, in my opinion, where KP stops herself, just disgraceful. Yes. And she does that in this one too. You know, Holly's like, oh, what's it been like? You know, tell us what it's been like or whatever. And she's just like, you know, and she just like, you know, laughs and tries not to laugh and then looks at Chris and then he's like, it's been a roller coaster of emotions and dang. Hmm. All right, I'll have to check that again. Oh, fish sticks is awful. It's just awful. It's awful. The things that he has done in Sebastian's case, but also Kylie Rodney's case. There's been a lot of them, and then the David Ford, you know, like his name is like Dave Ford, whatever David, but it's spelled like that. The local police have gaslit the whole community to silence them. Why? You know, I think that is very true. But I also know that they have a lot of people that stand up against it, right? Like whenever they're looking for someone new to come into the police department, people are like, find Sebastian, you know. So they people are standing up, but then again, they've gaslit a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want to stand up for what's right because of it. So yeah, Brenda, I agree. And Janet says corruption. I think so. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised he hasn't had his PI license revoked anywhere, like, or any misconduct or, um, you know, I could have probably done some damage myself, but since he ceased his crap, I after I won against White Boy and his wife, I decided to just, take the W and move on. I'm waiting for Dog and his team to step in. Yeah, I'm hoping so, Brenda. I'm hoping so. I really do. I really hope they do. And I know with Christmas, it's tough. I know that kind of puts the halt on things. Let me check here. Mosquito Bite says she was asked about the day she started off with Sunday morning. We got up and okay. Oh, I gotcha. Thanks, Mosquito Bite. And the analyst says there was no need to say that. Of course, everybody gets up unless they didn't, in my opinion. Oh, I see. That makes sense. So yeah. Yeah. Well, and who wakes up at the same time? I mean, usually no, I don't know. Uh, I will say, like, if it's a little kid, sometimes little kids get up really early, right? And then they're jumping around in the bed. Wake up, mama. Well, my daughter used to do that kind of stuff, where she'd be like, wake up, and she's like, let's go, let's do something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 5:30. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But, older kids now, when she's older, she didn't do that kind of stuff. Older kids, he might get up and start playing a video game, or he might get up and, yeah, and it's a Sunday morning. I agree with what you're saying. I see what you're saying too. Because typically, Katie might get up, she might be getting her coffee and stuff. Maybe Sebastian, was sleeping in, because usually teenagers sleep in, stuff like that. So I can see, maybe mom getting up first on Sunday morning, getting coffee, whatever. So, let's not forget CP stating that the last time he saw Sebastian was on February 26th when he came home. Oops. Yep. That was another slip up by him. Yes. And because he said that he was out of town the entire month, but that's not the case. I don't think. I think he might have been home a little bit more during that time period that he doesn't want to say. Right. But then again, if that is true, as I said before, he wasn't coming home on the weekends when Sebastian wasn't there. So I think that's a huge tell as well, about what was going on, what the dynamic was. So I think he was starting to say what he thought. They did not like 15, 16 autistic. They do speak their mind when they feel strong about something, and I think so too, Little Red. I think that that's a very strong probability, right? Because a lot of things are possible, but some things are just probable. And I think that is probably what happened, right? He started realizing, Sebastian, that is, that things weren't right. That, even going to Seth and saying, I don't think Mom and Mr. Chris like me very much. He recognized that it wasn't something that, which is very unfortunate, because no child should ever have to feel like that from their parents, right? Or step parent. In my opinion, I know it's a little bit different, and some people are great step parents, right? And they take care of the kids like they're their own. But yeah, we didn't see that with Chris. Like, even Chris is like, she's like, do you think he might have done something outdoors? And he's like, I don't know. Who knows? He's like shrugging. I don't know, Sebastian. I don't know what he does. Weird. I think Katie laughed at the question of how she was coping, because either she forgot her line, or that the interviewer just had to ask the one question that hadn't been considered asked. Oh, that's a great point, Mosquito Bites. Right? Oh my goodness. So she's like, I could see that with the type of laugh that she did, right? Where it was just like, oh my God, no way. Like, this is unreal kind of a thing. Then she looks at Chris like, fuck, or something. Yeah. Yep. Great point. Great point. Aw, thank you, Brenda Brown, for your super sticker. That's so sweet. Thank you. See that they were so ignorant thinking he disappeared would not affect the court case. Think about this. Maybe KK did it to make sure that Crispy Critter would not get custody of him. Maybe he did it on purpose. Oh, that's a good point, Lil Red. Oh my goodness. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we did get it wrong in this case, Little Red, because excuse me, sorry, I usually mute my mic if I'm in a loud cough. So I wouldn't be surprised. And here's why. Because in the beginning, we haven't gotten a straight answer or a straight story or a straight timeline, right? So it's going to be really difficult to piece things together. And then they keep saying, you're not in trouble. We weren't even fighting that day. But if we look at Katie in this picture, and I show this a lot, and I know I do, but I mean, this is like a compilation of the Roadhouse. And so if I take my big head out of the way, you guys will be able to see a little bit better. Let me see if I can't get this one to be tinier. Hold on. So you guys can look at their faces and not mine. Oh, Katie's just basically looking. But see, she's looking down. Although, no. We'll do this. I'll put myself up here. No, I don't like that either. Here, we'll do this right here. That's good. Oh, I kicked myself out of the live computer. Okay. So with this, you can see Katie doing one of these. Why? Right? Like that. Not like, why? Like she could be asking why. Sure. Yeah. But no, she's like this at him. Right. And then, a lot of us are moms, right? A lot of us have moms or a caregiver that if you're in trouble, right, and you're telling them, no, I don't want to do that, mom, and then they're at you like this, right? Not like that, like nonchalant or, just in conversation, right? And then we have Katie doing the little weird, looking back and forth. But then she's like this at him, right? She's like, let me see what she's doing. Like that, like she's pointing at him with all of her fingers, right? Or her thumb is down, she's like this, right? So pointing at him, and then you see Sebastian is withdrawn back like this. He's picking at his nails. He was biting his nails. Again, usually biting nails is like when you're nervous, right? Or it's a bad habit. She also is doing one of these at him. I don't know if you guys can see my finger there. Like this, right? And she's pointed at like this way, right? On her seat. It's not like she's back like this, like she is in the one above. She's down like this. So again, pointing at Sebastian in a very pointed way toward him. And he did nothing that I could see at the Roadhouse, right? Like maybe it was something earlier in the day. Maybe it was something on Friday. Maybe it was something on Saturday. Sometimes things bubble up and bubble over, right? If it's not handled, maybe something really bad happened that weekend. I don't know. And then we hear about this poker party where there was a whole bunch of them all together. I was like, what were they doing at the poker party? If there was even a poker party. Hey, Scranton, good to see you. Hey. Oh, hey, perfectly imperfect boy mom. So good to see you. Aw, thank you for being here. Merry Christmas, guys. Aw, so good to see you guys. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Joe, you're back. I'm sorry, Joe. Now can Cinderella chat? See, because I'm gonna have to go in there and fix that. Yeah, the weirdo, that weirdo nervous chuckle KP gives when she says we told him to go to bed. He did in the chuckle. Yes, yes, Scranton. We told him to go to bed. He did. You know that, like, yeah. Yeah. It's very, very strange. Um, yeah, like I know what you're talking about, Scranton. The debit cards that you can get for the kids that are like in your name but theirs to use. Um, oh, don't be upset, Joe. Cinderella was blocked on accident. It happens. You know, I was in Smiley's the one time. I've told you guys this before. I know I have, but I was in Smiley's chatting away, and then all of a sudden I got hidden or something happened, and then they were like, "Oh no, I accidentally hit the button on Lady Freedom," and then I was like, "It's okay," but I couldn't say it was okay because I was blocked or whatever for a minute, and it was funny. I went back in the comments and I'm like, "Don't worry, I wasn't mad. I know it was a mistake," you know, stuff like that. Um, the over the shoulder beady, I look terrified me when I first saw it. It still terrifies me. Yeah, Scranton, it's weird, isn't it? Like it's it's sinister, you know, and I'm not trying to be over dramatic when I say it, but it's a sinister type of look that she's giving, right? Because she's smiling and she's also being very sneaky. Um, yeah. MSCS says, so in my opinion, there are only two ways that Sebastian got out of that house: backdoor and taken to the 3 a.m. car, or taken in KP's in the morning when they drove to school. You know, I think that is a strong possibility, and I have one more to add to the list, or two of those two are strong probabilities, I should say, and one more to add to the list that I think there could have been a handoff at Stop 30 on Stop 30 Road at that little area. Um, it's just like you just drive past it. It's so, you know, once you're in there, it's secluded enough, right? And all somebody would have to do is just pull in, you know, grab somebody up, circle around, and leave out. Again, the same thing goes for if somebody was waiting there and they, you know, pick somebody up, but also a handoff could have taken place where she's like, you know, telling him, we're going to do this on the way home. I'm going to send you with somebody, or you know, you're going to do this. And Sebastian's like, no, I don't want to. And she's like, you're going to do it. Right. And she starts giving him the 1-2, pushing her fingers on his face, you know, being very pointed towards him. So I think that is a big part of it that could have happened on a handoff on the way home from the Texas Roadhouse, but also the lights, or quite possibly they picked somebody else up, right? But I mean, that would still be the lights. So thank you, MSCS. Yeah. I mean, those are the things that just would fit into the timeline that we're dealing with, because even in the morning, you know, because like I said, I don't believe their story, right? So, you know, say something happened overnight, right? Katie's just awaiting, right, to call it in. Katie's waiting to call Chris, right? Because that's what the plan is, right? Katie's waiting to call Chris, and then they're talking, and then they're gonna call law enforcement. Is the plan? That's what they do. They don't dial 911, which we're all conditioned to do at a very young age, is to dial 911, dial 911, emergency, blah blah blah. Maybe he was supposed to testify or say something CP and KP didn't want him to say, and he wasn't with it 100%. And I think it could have been that as well, because, and especially with CPS, and the custody case with Faith, mm. And I do think she's Evil Witch for sure. Yes. Still need info on that poker party, Lori. 100%. 100%. I don't know who all was there, but there's a reason why they're being so quiet about who was there. I think, SI officer, I think so too. I think so too. And all helped, in my opinion. It was a party to let them, in my opinion, premeditated. I mean, especially because going back to, well, just everything that we know, everything, just going back, it would seem, because of Nina's story, because of the way that the coworker talked about Terry Bauer socks and that he would harass Chris's exes, right, if they broke up with him, because of his crazy narcissism and abusive, actions, his own actions, they would be stalked, harassed, targeted by the Foot Clan. And that's where, we get the flying monkeys, right? Because the flying monkeys will do anything for the narcissist. They do all the dirty work for them. And that's what their role is, Cruella and Snaggletooth. I truly believe CP and KP are pedos and that the poker party was a pedo party. Oh. That's interesting. Yeah, I if I was Nina, I wouldn't want my daughter around that lady. Bo says, in my opinion, we don't even know if this whole poker party is for real. That was what all said by Terry Lynn. I know. Oh, that's so tough, right? I agree with that, Bo. And then, nothing else was said about it. Yeah. Yeah, it can be interpreted that way. Well, both ways, I think, She does look out of body, Sammy. And she always does that long stare, right? Into, like, she's dissociating. But knowing the trauma, that Katie had endured, when she was little and stuff like that, and then growing up and everything, that is something that people do when they have experienced very heavy trauma. It's a coping mechanism, right? This dissociation, right? It pulling yourself away from the situation so you don't have to go through what you're actually going through at the moment, right? You're not trying to be there. You want to be somewhere else. You know. Sebastian shakes his head no in the Texas Roadhouse video before the scolding. In my opinion, she asked him to recant the CPS reports. Brenda, I definitely understand where that's coming from. Right. And she says why at him, right? Like in his face, Makes sense. That was not, I'm looking for a wait staff. That was over the shoulder look, in my opinion. Exactly. And why would you be doing that? Like, looking around like that with a smile, like I guess it isn't even like a smile, it's a little bit of a smirk, the Terminator robot look. Yes. Exactly, little Miss Sharon, that's it too. Like, oh man, oh, that is perfect. Oh my goodness. The high schools in Tennessee automatically give all the students a photo school ID. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think it's like that most places. I know Missouri is that way. I don't know about Florida, but I would assume they would have, and I even remember we all had our school IDs as well. Um, you know, and then a lot of places will give the students a discount and stuff. I think she was telling him to do something like maybe about the reports or something, and she was shaking, and he was shaking his head no, and she got upset. Yeah, Shadow, I think that is a very strong probability here. Something, I mean, and there's something about the way that Katie treated Sebastian. If any of you guys have ever experienced someone giving you the silent treatment when they're pissed at you, and they will just ignore you completely. You'll be like, hey, you know, whatever, and they just ignore you. They will not acknowledge or say a word to you. That is the way that I perceive Katie, and not because the video is in silent mode, or right, we don't have any audio for this, but because of her body language, because of her actions, right? And because Sebastian also, he points at the game, right? And you really don't see him say much. And then she just throws the menus at him, tosses them across the way. That's just the vibe I get from it. So I don't know why this. I just realized I had my phone on my lap because I was supposed to be looking through for Cinderella. I don't know. That is bizarro. No, not that. Sorry, guys. Give me one more second to look through. Because I don't... I don't see our Cinderella on the block list. I see SF Investigates on the block list, or somebody that calls themselves that. That is just so strange. I don't understand that at all. And I know it's really little. That's why I'm going over it just one more time. All right. I'll have to check after the live again. Unless somebody accidentally clicked on it again and blocked Cinderella again today, or hid her again, but because sometimes you can't see it if it happens during the live. SI officer says, I believe they were revisiting something that was an issue within the household, and they were trying to persuade Sebastian, and he was uncomfortable doing so, in my opinion. Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I believe he was telling him, or Crazy Bird thinks that she was telling him he was going away because he keeps calling CPS on Chris, and his he couldn't come home. And I mean, I think, again, that is probably something that happened there, because we know that the reports from CPS were piling up, and piling up and piling up and piling up. So, yeah, I know, Sam, that's what they want. He's like, yes, ma'am, right away. She's like, so he just vanished, and yes, ma'am, right? Before she could even finish her statement almost. Mosquito Bite says, in my opinion, Sebastian left the home with Katie in the car during the day. In my opinion, it was on Friday. I think he spent the weekend away from home, hence no, they got up. Oh, I gotcha. If he was not home, I don't think he went home after leaving home after getting off the bus on Friday afternoon, in my opinion. Oh, I see. Huh. Maybe he was complaining about going to bowling and not doing nothing. That's true, Sammy. That's true. That very well could be. Because we heard that they went bowling and everything, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, we didn't get to bowl. And again, with children on the spectrum, a lot of times, or individuals even, if they don't get to carry out what they wanted, what their plans were, it can be very stressful for them, and they could have a meltdown. So, yeah. Oh, BJ's was the meetup to go over a plan. Absolutely, Sammy. Yeah, I can see that too. Because that whole situation was weird. And then why wouldn't they all have gone out bowling and done all that, done that kind of thing? That just seems like something. And then where was Lori? Lori is another piece to this puzzle that, continues to baffle me in that way. Not in our county in Tennessee, no school IDs. Oh, really? No school IDs, Mosquito Bite? Wow. The United States of Terror type-ish. Sammy. MSCS says, my 15-year-old granddaughter flew with me this summer, and I just had her SS card and birth certificate with. Oh my goodness! I thought we had to get the real IDs to fly. I don't remember if that was actually enacted or I just heard it somewhere on the news. So, I thought her entire head was going to spin all the way around like in The Exorcist. Cece. Oh my goodness. The power of Christ compels you. I played that. I said that whenever Chris was going off on Web Sleuths, I remember. Aw, thank you, Choochie. I always hit the like button when I come in. Aw, thanks, Brenda. I appreciate the like. You guys hitting the likes is great. It like every time it helps me get into the algorithm when you guys do that. So that's awesome. And every time I get a notification for my videos, I'm like, oh, good, I'm in the algorithm, Is there a hit list, Lady Freedom, for what, CC? Probably. Oh, a hit list. Okay. I changed. You said his list, so I thought you said hit list. Oh Lord. I was like, probably so. The Bower Sox probably have one. No, I'm just teasing. Yes, there is a list. There's a mods list, and then there's a hidden user list. And there's a lot of mother truckers on that list. Oh Lord. They wanted all those reports too. How silly of them to do such a move, in my opinion, and they think they'll get away with it. Yeah, their bold and brazen attitudes really surprised me too. SI officer, not coming from them particularly, but just the fact of the matter, and yet we've seen none of them, and they've said they did, in my opinion, all lies. I know. I agree. Hey, Merry Christmas, Liberty. Good to see ya. Then Wise said we were played arcade games instead. The video says that was a lie. Right, exactly. I know. And then Sammy, she wouldn't even let him play the game on the computer. See, that to me as a mom would be an incentive. So say Sebastian's my kiddo and we're out we're out for the day and we didn't get a chance to bowl. I would say, hey buddy, guess what? We're gonna head over to Texas Roadhouse and they have video games that you can play at the table, right? Like, does that make you feel better, right? Because that's what you do as a mom, right? And especially when you have a child on the spectrum who's disappointed, you would think you would incentivize that and say, hey, don't get too down. We can play video games, and hey, I'll play you in a game of whatever the hell they have on the thing, right? You pick. your choice, right? Something like that to sweeten the deal, to make things better, to smooth things over. We don't see that with Katie. She's just kind of like, well, you get what you get, you know, and you can't beat the autism out of this kid. You can't punish the autism out of him. And I think that's one thing that really upsets me when I look at this situation, you know? I think Lori and KK together could absolutely have been what happened too. That's why I wanted to go over to the Fairfield, because, you know, hindsight was talking about the Fairfield, and I'm like, you know, I want to um, go over and see if that could happen, because guys, sometimes like those back doors won't have a camera on them. Sometimes, you know, I've worked at a couple of different properties for hotels, and it just kind of depends. And it just, you know, that one's a newer one. But that doesn't matter, you know. So yeah, Cushy. Yeah, Cushy, the Epstein list. Yeah. Over 18 for real ID to fly. Thank you, CC. Okay, over 18. That makes sense. No, not a word. Not a word, not a word. You know, it doesn't surprise me, Liberty, but I don't check on their Facebook. They might have put something on Facebook. You know. Yeah. Cushy, I like that too. I like it when people are exposed for the crap they do. Especially, you know, um that level, to that level of, you know, power. That power is a big one with all of them. I heard P. Diddy wants to get out. So yeah, I know exactly. It's like the tall, big, yeah. Or some kids, or some guys have facial hair early, you know. I was praying with you, Liberty. I just kept thinking about that for Sebastian and Devlin. CP super chatted and clues about Brittany J and CPS reports, but if you mean any word about their missing child, oh my, I guess they figure KP's birthday scripted time on Duchess was enough. Oh Lord, he did not super chat. That's terrible. Oh my goodness. I know he's behind all of this shit that's been going on lately too. You know, with it's always the same characters, you know, it's always the same old crap. See, Lori showed up way too fast and was in town already. That's where I'm stuck too, Little Red, for sure. You know? Yeah, I agree. They don't give an F. They know where he is. I agree too. Liberty, 100%. Yeah, Lori and KK could have done this and could have hidden it from Crispy and the family. Well, and that's true, Little Red. You know, we talked a little bit about that, you know, a couple of nights ago. Well, it was probably like a week ago now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But, you know, there could be a very strong chance that they don't know about it in terms of the Foot clan. You know, because I just know that Katie had to have gotten help from someone, and her and Lori are very good friends. But then I'm wondering, with Lori having a child who has special needs too, how could she have the heart? You know, I mean, it's just, but you know, stranger things have happened. Crazy Bird says, I believe Chris truly believes he is so smart, and with his mommy's pull, he would never face charges for his actions making Sebastian disappear. I can absolutely see that. I could absolutely see that. Chi-Chi says 100. Yeah, I can absolutely see that. So that's what I said. It could have been as easy as quick stop and switch. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, that area right there, Scranton, that stop 30 road. Oh yes, please always use allegedly, in my opinion, guys. It's not even a question anymore. Their lack of care has proven. Yeah, it has been proven. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Liberty. And then saying things like, this is what Sebastian would have wanted, and that's a problem for me when I hear that, because those are kinds of things that you hear when somebody is no longer with us, right? So, oh, yeah. Yeah, Little Red. In my opinion, she says that's exactly what happened. Well, we don't know where she took him for KK, and I can absolutely see something like that happening. I mean, it definitely looks like she was telling Sebastian something that he wasn't wanting to hear and that he wasn't on board with. And that is very concerning to me in my opinion, because of what happened next. My problem was when he was removed, is there or would have not been 3 a.m. flashlights and activity in the cemetery that night before 3. Yeah, the night he went missing after 3. I know. And that's what's difficult for me to reconcile as well, Crazy Bird, because I do try to work these theories all the way through, right? And I'm always complaining, like, please work all the theories all the way through. That doesn't make sense, blah, 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 type of a thing. So, um, it's one of those things where you face that hurdle and you're like, okay, well, could this have gone a separate way, right? But if it couldn't, and then you hit that dead end, right? You're like, okay, it's not a hurdle, it's a dead end. But those are some of the things that I'm stuck on. And then knowing that there was so much activity in the cemetery, also remembering back when I was a mod for Terry Lynn and she was normalizing the activity in the middle of the night in the cemetery, right? Yeah. If he was taken away from home, or if he was taken on the way home from the Texas Roadhouse, yeah, I totally get it. But I think it could have happened that way, and something could have went awry. There could have been a mistake made, and then they had to do something, like Katie had to bring something out, because obviously we saw the light source come from the house and go out, and then they came back to the house, right? And that's something that I can not forget, what is BOT? What is bots? What is bots? I don't know what bots is. Well, then we have CP's step or half brother who lives in Kentucky and refuses to speak to his family. Very strange. Also, CC, he can't stand them, and he talks very negatively about them. Very much so. Very much so. In my opinion, she stopped at and switched cars. Her car with decoys went home, and she and Sebastian took off out of town. She came home at 3 a.m. In my opinion, home alone at 3 a.m. Interesting. That's interesting. Liberty, in my opinion, no way would have they have had the activity that could be seen just for items. Yeah, I mean, I just know that Chris hated the fact that his home was being known about, and usually that's the farthest thing from someone's mind, right? When they have a missing loved one. Now, obviously, when people take it too far and act crazy as hell, that's when the issue comes up. But in the same way, most of the time people are welcoming to anybody who's willing to come help find their child. The car cam footage Katie turned into the LE a week later only had like 6 minutes on it, and I think it's a 10-minute drive from Texas Roadhouse, or so it's rumored, in my opinion. Yeah, it's about 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, that's about how long it took me on a Sunday around the same time to get over to their neighborhood. Not exact, right? I wasn't, driving home from the Texas Roadhouse at 6:30, but It was around, I think 3:30 or 4. So pretty close. And it was also a Sunday. Same thing with Jen, Jeff, and I, Saturday, morning. So we got there before the lunch rush on Saturday. No one knows if the cemetery has security cars driving through. That's what I think that was, but doesn't matter what I think. Oh, it matters, Lil Red. Oh, yeah. Court of public opinion matters here. People were talking about the security, and I don't know, because that it's a very active place, and also with the church owning it, I don't know if they have like a night person, night watcher, groundskeeper. I don't know what they call him, groundskeeper Willie. Groundskeeper Willie's there. I'm not sure, but no, I think that's true. It could have been anybody, really. Hey, Detroit, Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming in. Good to see you. Just got back from my daughters. We had a wonderful time. Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad to hear that. I think that's why they moved to Stafford Court, to be in that corrupt Sumner County Sheriff's Office, close to friends, and where Mommy Socks and the friends has friends in high places. I think that is a very, very strong possibility. Well, I think it's very probable, right? Because they lived in California. Sebastian was essayed by a little bit of an older kid, right? But still. And then they moved to Tennessee. Yeah. So 2 lights went to the 3 a.m. car. 1 light went to the house. 2 lights plus 1 light is 3 lights. 2 leaving home. 1 going to it, in my opinion. Oh, I see what you're saying, Mosquito, that there was 2. I gotcha. Yeah, and that very well could have been, because it was so dark, right? Or there could have been 2 people walking with 1 light source. But, that's my way of thinking too. They just would not risk being seen with flashlights at 3 a.m. for anything but Sebastian out. I can see that too. Excuse me. I can see that too, Crazy Bird, for sure. Because it's a coincidence that problems started when they moved there. Right. Yeah. Well, everything was great in California until Sebastian was SA'd, right? Well, so we thought, so we think, right? Because we always hear about California this, California that. Back when we were in California, it's always good, right? And then Tennessee, not so much. The 3 a.m. could have been just a ruse to make it appear he ran away. That's very true. Little Red, I can see that being true. Yeah. Liberty says, Crazy Bird, I think the opposite. They would have been seen with Sebastian. That's interesting too. No security driving through. Bob said no other night had any activity. Okay, Crazy Bird. Thank you. Yes, I am, Scranton. Yes, I am. I will be going for that. Most definitely. Most definitely. Yes, ma'am. And I would urge everybody to get ready to do that. I think that would be a great thing, to go stand with Seth, and it's going to be a peaceful thing. It's going to be something that's good, positive. We could really use all the people out there, that we can get. So was convinced that they were carrying him from the house till you said ditch wasn't jumpable and easy as we thought. Yes, Sammy. One shot sort of looks like she's carrying a dog, but more work to do there. Well, and I know, and the thing is, my thing is too, Sammy, is that I wish I could have gotten down and walked the ditch myself, right? Like it was raining that morning, and so there was not even moisture in the ditch. There was water in it, but it wasn't like, enough to flow or whatever. I mean, it was flowing a little bit, I'm sure, but I don't know if it gets deeper at a certain point or if it stays that same, but it goes all the way back. So, yeah, that's, I mean, again, I was surprised to see how wide it was, you know, and then with Bobby the neighbor saying that they jumped the ditch. No, I don't think so, unless it narrows. Um, and of course I was, you know, accosted and followed out of the neighborhood, so I didn't get a chance to debunk that for, you know, their neighbors there, the Proudfoot, because that would have been something that would be to be considered, right? And that's the problem with them being like, oh, you know, you can't look, you can't, you know, I mean, what if that changes everything that we think? And they didn't let us do it, or they didn't let us see it for ourselves, or what have you, you know, because again, I thought it was a little drainage ditch that was narrow. It's not. It's pretty wide, especially at the end there. um if there was waters rushing through that, somebody could get swooped up into it and down into the drain, in my opinion. I mean, it would be possible. I'll just say that. But yeah, Sammy, I mean, that really put things into perspective, you know. Yeah. Yeah, they did. When they moved from one place to another, they downsized, at least downsized their yard like way down. Yeah, from White House, when they lived in White House. I know other cemetery do. It's so small. It's just such a small cemetery. Lady Freedom, I think I was thinking of trying to go to, but I might be starting a new job around that time, so it might be tricky. But I told Mr. Strangler I want to go. Yay! Yes, I would love to meet you, Scranton Strangler. That would be great. That would be great. Uh-oh, do we got some trolls? Jose go suck a pencil. Butter your own biscuit, fat ass. That's one of the ones I love. Butter your own biscuit, fat ass. And it's even funnier when somebody's not fat if you say that to them. It's funny to me. MSCS says, Jose, go butter your own biscuit, fat ass. MSCS says the person at the 3 video came from, says on his original video he can actually see the person running back and jumping the ditch. Well, and see, that's, I know, it's crazy. So maybe it narrows at a certain point. Like maybe it gets a little bit more narrow. Let me show you guys the ditch really quick. Is it this one? Hold on one second. Let me take a look. I still can't believe that weird green hoodie or that jacket guy came up. That was weird. Oh, this is the... That's not the video I was looking for. All right. So... Captain Jules video. 17 big mistakes. No, it was before that. Oh, drive along. Okay, oh, here it is. The drive along. Okay, got it. All right. Second visit to Victoria Place. All right, hold on. And it was at the end here, so I'm just going to get us there. All right, hold a second. All right. I could probably even slow some of this down and do another video for y'all. Hold on a second, though. Let me share this. All right. Ah, there's Gypsy Rose again. I'm telling you guys, I wish I knew how to do a poll. I would do a poll and see how many of you guys want me to do a Gypsy Rose video. Because golly, I've just been really crazy watching that on my off time. See, that's what I do when I'm off of these other cases like Sebastian and Devlin's. I go over there and watch Gypsy Rose's crap. All right. So, and is this okay? You guys can see this. And it was raining. And there's the mannequin building, right? Welcome to Shackle Island. And then we have the construction area right before Victoria Place. And then I just got my happy ass out of the car because I was like, I want to get a good feel for this. All right. And see, you can see there's water on the ground, you know, puddles and stuff like that. Lots of puddles. Chi says, yes, do a Jip Jip video. We got to do our Jip Jip. I love that. Jip Jip, Jip Jip. Right, put a one in chat if you want to see the Jip Jip videos. Oh my gosh, I just can't believe what she said on the stand in court. I was like, I watched that this morning. Oh. Okay, so see, I switched over too quick, but see, there's their cameras, right? And that's like the side of their house. It's not, you know, the front. And then you can see that large ditch, and it goes all the way back and all the way to the end of the street here. And you could kind of, you know, if the grass wasn't wet, you could probably walk a little bit down and then hop over the, you know, the smaller part of it. But to walk down it, there's all these rocks in it and stuff. But then there's another hole here also for water. But see how far it goes back, all the way the hell back. You know, and I wanted to walk that little area, just this area up. Because I didn't think it would technically be on anybody's property, right? But then, oh, yeah. They were not happy that I was in the neighborhood out of my vehicle. But see how it goes down now? That part back there is deeper than the front. So sorry, I mixed that up. And then, of course, I'm trying to peep on the backyard situation, right? The common area. I need to be a better camera person, too. I'm not the greatest. Or I need to be like Gail Weathers and get a cameraman. And then, you know, see, and it had been, like I said, it had been raining, so there's water collected. But see, even right here, you could hop over. Obviously not here because, you know, there's people. But now this hole's not too big. This little pipe, nobody could probably fit in that, you know, unless it was a small baby, you know, small child or something. But then down over here, and see, there's no sidewalks in the neighborhood, which make it a little bit difficult too, you know, to kind of know. But see, then this hole is humongous comparatively. So like, say those waters were raging down, somebody could get swooped up in that, you know, like a small person could. But see all the rock? All the rock in there. And then, of course, I'm still fixated on this house. But I should have walked down the street. And I didn't. I should have waited and got this at the end. But... And I imagine, you know, Sebastian would have walked that way to the school bus on the end of the street. And then this is where the lady yells at me. So we'll just take that off of there. And then again, guys, I just want to post Sebastian's missing flyer here. Also, I want to get the website for Seth's for Sebastian's t-shirts. Oh God, new FOIA videos. Merry Christmas, Merry Jipmas. Merry Jipmas. Oh Lord help me, you guys. See, this is why I'm not going to sleep tonight, because I'm going to be too busy watching Jip Jip. I'll get you guys some good I'll get you guys a good video out about Jip. Oh Lord. Okay, let me look for Seth here. Seth Rogers. No, not Seth Rogers Court TV, just his channel there, buddy. All right. Oh God, is T-Rev? I just saw T-Rev. Yikes. Yikes. Little weirdo. All right, and this is to be a walking billboard for Sebastian. Guys, the hoodies are so nice. I will wear one. I will wear mine on the show to show y'all. And then this one is be a walking billboard. Oh, this just fell in my lap and I was like, what the heck is that? It's from my dragon thing. Okay, so and there we go. So tomorrow, guys, I'm going to take a day off and get some videos posted for you guys, and maybe get caught up on some of the stuff for Sebastian in the cemetery, so we can try to figure that out. I also want to do a live about cell tower pings and how that all works and everything. I found out that Lake Odessa has some newer technology for cell phones, so or excuse me, for cell towers. That is, they're not outdated or anything by any means. So Jip 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 Jip. Oh, they're horrible, you guys. They are so bad that I could do some killer comparisons, no pun intended, on Gypsy though. Like, just what she said in court and what she testified to, and everything's piecing itself together. Like, it's so crazy. Ew. Crazy Bird. Crazy Bird says it was it was probably SF. It is probably SF sneaking in to see Lady. We know how much he loves her. You guys are killing me. I did take a picture of him today, and it's in my phone. Oh my God. You guys are so funny. You just have to do this to me while I'm showing my face, right? Because now I know I'm getting red, and he smells like Stetson cologne. He smells like Old Spice. Oh my God. You guys kill me. Oh my goodness. Nancy Grace will be adding me. Oh, now you're dating us. Oh my God. Hashtag hypocrite. Oh Lord. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh my gosh, Detroit. I was so happy. Like, she had asked me, she said, what do you want for Christmas? And so I said to her, oh, get me like a little neon sign for the back But then I started looking at them. I'm like, they're kind of expensive. I was like, no, don't get me a neon sign. But she found like a custom sign company that did that. And I just thought that was so adorable. Like, I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. But that was so sweet of her. You know, very, very, very thoughtful. Very thoughtful. Bo, you guys gotta save me. if I if I ever want to date SF, please um commit me. Take me down to Chinatown. I was I was watching excuse me. I was watching The Office whenever Meredith lit her hair on fire because she was so drunk at the Christmas party, and then Michael was taking her to rehab, and he was trying to like leave her there, but you know it's voluntary, and so he was like, I'm doing this for you, and she's like, no, and she's trying to get away. Oh my gosh. Hey, Tully's terrible twist. Good to see you. In my opinion, CPS also dropped the ball, not notifying Seth, and waited for too many complaints. I agree with that completely, Tully. You have nailed it on the head there, because you know, for Katie to have been able to get away with that is bizarre to me, just because most of the time you would think that they would do their research, right? And if they would just have looked into the divorce, they could have seen that Sebastian, in fact, has a father. And that would red flag any social worker, right? And be like, well, why is the mother saying that the father's not involved, or that the father is Mr. Foot, right? Stepfoot, and really, because I'm guessing that that's what they had said, was that Stepfoot's the father, or Stepfoot is Sebastian's father. I don't know what's up with that. I would never dream of, telling anybody that my daughter's father was somebody else other than him. Very bizarre, you know. So, oh good, Crazy Bird, good. Yeah, I figured I should, take a day off and just, he smells like fish. You guys are killing me. Oh my goodness. He's very, very fishy. No, yeah, so tomorrow night I will do that, and I will also you know, I want to do a video where I pull in. That's what I wanted to do tonight for the roast, was like kind of pull in different statements, weird statements that Chris and Katie have made, right? Like some of the weirdest ones were on Queen Bee. Hands down. But just going through and finding all of those, it was like, oh my gosh. And then I got stuck on the interview and the micro expressions. And, I started with that interview and then I didn't get much further. Although there was a couple of curious things that were said in Nancy Grace's interview. One of them being, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? No, ma'am. Right. And I find that to be very comical, just the whole Bubba thing, right? Because it doesn't seem like a suitable nickname for Sebastian. I remember somebody asking if Sebastian had a nickname, and apparently that was what, Katie said that she called him. I don't know. Sebastian doesn't look like a Bubba to me. He looks like a cutie pie or something. I don't know. I have a daughter, so, her nicknames are different. I guess than like a boy would be, I mean, I don't know. I've called little guys like, little dude, or, bub, maybe bub. Bubba? I don't know. That's weird. Bubba Gump Shrimp. I guess she thinks she's a shrimp boat captain. Sam says ping ping. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys. So I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you all so much for being here. I love how we have such a great turnout for Sebastian. I know you guys just love him as much as I do, want him to be found as much as I do. So I love having these conversations with you guys and re-examining some of these interviews. I think is really important. Um, I just think that something's got to give in Sebastian's case, right? It's been so long and with nothing, and then we have parents that are like, "Oh, we didn't think it was going to go this far." What? How do you figure? Ah, thank you, Bo. Thank you, thank you. Merry Christmas, MSCS. Thank you, thank you. Hey, KJ. Ah, thank you for being here. What Sammy says. First it was Bubba, then all of a sudden they started calling him Dude. Oh, that's right. Dude is another one. Yes, yeah. Yeah, like, was that was in Queen Bee. Yeah, that was in Queen Bee. I remember that for sure. Aw, hope you had a wonderful day too, KJ Mac. Yes, I will, Lori. I will. It'll be fun. It'll be nice to just kind of chill. But I'm always making videos, and always listening to stuff. Yeah, yeah, Bub. Yeah, Bub is one, right? I just remember a guy I dated years ago. He had a little son, and we would pal around and go places and do things together. And I called him Bub, but I didn't call him Bubba, but just Bub. But he also was named Zach. We called him Z. So he had a nickname already. I just called him Bub. You know. But yeah, like a term of endearment. You know. That's right. Tully's Terrible Twist says, Sebastian, we are looking for you. Hang in there. Thank you, Tully. Thank you. That's right. That's right. Merry Christmas to everyone, says Crazy Bird. Dude, get up. Yes, dude, get up. And something about when he was bowling, she said, dude, mom. Oh, yes, mom, I wrecked you. Yes, mom, you just got wrecked. Yes, Sammy. Yep, I remember that. Yes. You too, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. I'm so glad you were able to make it for a live as well. We love having you here. And just everybody that comes in for Sebastian, that's so sweet. Um, isn't she from the hills? I think they all call the boys Bubba. Oh, that is typically short for brother. I think I'm not from the hills. Well, that's what I heard about it being short for brother, right? Like your bub, your Bubba, like sis. I know that's a thing too. Like, but like even in Missouri, people will be like, "Hey, sis," but you're not really their sister. They'll just call you sis, like as a term of endearment. So yeah. Forensic astrology isn't showing anything coming as far as justice. Damn. Hmm. Thank you, Chuchi. Thank you, Shadow. Thank you. Hey, YouTuber is here. Good to see you. Thank you for the great hearts. You guys are the best. Well, I love you all so very, very much, and I will see you again. You're welcome. You're welcome, Liberty. Thank you. I will see you again. Let's see. What is today? Friday. Sorry, I had to look at the time. What day is it? So we'll do Saturday. We'll do Saturday, Sunday. But of course there'll be probably later shows. But again, I'm gonna be trying to work in shows during the week, during the day a little bit too for everybody. So thank you, KJ. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, is it Thursday well, I was actually thinking it might be Saturday, but I was like, no, that's not right. Thank you, Detroit. Merry Christmas. Sebastian, wherever you are, we will never stop looking until you are home safe with your daddy. That's right. Detroit, it's just so hard. That is so hard. Bubba and Sissy, thank you. Yes, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. I think they need to go back and research the area. I think that would be a good start, Tully, because of the terrain. The terrain in general, but also with the cemetery, that would be a good one. So thank you, Chuchi. Thank you. All right, guys, I love you all. Thank you, and have a very blessed rest of your weekend, whatever you're doing, or if you're standing in the return lines, stay safe out there. Yeah, tonight was Thursday night. Thank you. See you Saturday. Thank you. Thanks so much, Scranton. Thank you, guys. I will absolutely. KJ, thank you. All right. Bye, guys.